And we're back on the Bruce Poinsett show, and I've got numbers royalty in here tonight. I'm just going to switch this to gallery view real quick. We got DJ Ambush, the head of Voltron here. We got the unrefined sophisticates Can Jones and Morgan Jones. How are you all doing today?
Hey.
Great.
Doing well. I need you to start announcing me every room I walk into. Hey, what?
Don't sound real good.
Yeah.
I try with my I try with the enthusiasm. But speaking of which, at I wanted to state my intentions up front on this because we're gonna be doing a panel coming up real soon for a series I'm doing called Black News Future, which actually is going to be starting on December 18th with my first guest, or my first panel with that is going to be Max Smith, Donovan Smith, and Jenny Moore. So definitely people check that out. And then, like I said, everyone who's on here tonight, we're going to be coming back in a time soon to be determined in January. So we want to preview that, but then also, I'm just going to be slick and use this as like my backdoor pilot to get on the unrefined sophisticates. So,
Your audition reel?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I feel it.
Listen, it's a strenuous screening process. Right up front, as someone who's been in the show a couple of times. There were some times I don't want to be it, then I couldn't make it. Didn't make the cut.
I don't know anything that anybody's talking about.
And then also, I mentioned this when I was reaching out to y'all originally that, I just want to, my own grandiose way, make this like my Kanye Rockefeller chain moment with the numbers. I'm going to pull back so you can see the special numbers. The numbers show.
I don't even think I put the white one on anybody. This is a stunt.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. That was a nice little reveal. I see how you positioned yourself in that seat in that camera to give a little sneaky reveal. I see it.
Hey. Ambush told me, it's like, if you see anyone out with this, that means that they're a part of it. And I was like,
yeah,
I'll roll with it. I got it.
Yeah.
Hey. I'll take anything. But anyways, to bring it back to this Black News Future panel, because actually I'm really excited to do that. It's going to be a 3-part series. The first one is on print media on December 18th. Then with you all, we're talking about radio, podcasting, the audio market, and then we've got another one on the interface of Black media and politics. So again, people, stay tuned for that. But just to kind of, again, just preview this series coming up, when I talk about Black radio in Portland, what comes to mind? And anyone can start off.
You know what? I think the best person to start off with that would be the person that's had the most Portland experience. I can tell you what I think Black radio is based on what we're doing today. But I've heard that, a little bit different in the past.
I can't see where this is going.
I think he's trying to tell me to talk. So what's the question? What do I think about Black radio in Portland?
Yeah, well, when I just say Black radio in Portland, what comes to mind?
Well, it's definitely changed throughout the years, right? So now with the numbers, I immediately think of the numbers. And I think about the growth that has happened within that station in a short amount of time and the plans of that station going forward. So I get excited when I think about Black radio in Portland now. Previously, like I'm from here, so we had 1480 KBMS that was Black radio for me as a child. And that's it. Everything else has always had some sort of, Z100 hint to it. And even when it was, there have been meant to be Black stations, it has still been very white centric. So hosts, you know, the kind of skits and shows that happen on those radio stations and morning shows and stuff like that. It's all been very white centric. So Black radio in Portland is the numbers at this point. And I'm super excited to be a part of that, but it's that's it.
For myself, Can Jones, I don't listen to the radio. So I'm going to say that first, right? What made me actually pay attention to any radio was the numbers. And the reason that I don't listen to the radio, specifically your hip hop stations, hip hop and R&B type stations, the same 10 songs a million times in a row is not cutting it for me. These people have projects that have all kind of songs on them. There's more than that one that you're spinning, maybe the two that you're spinning. So getting a dose of the playlist, the community playlist, so it's actually people that I come in contact with that are curating these. I get put on to so many new people, music I would never think to search for. And I'm able to get a dose of that by tuning in, which now makes it a thing to pop it up and let it stream in the background while I'm working, just to be able to get that dose. So again, when I think of Black radio in Portland, I think of the numbers, and not just because, you know, affiliations and things.
Right.
I just go see your big dog over there, you know.
I should have made that clear that I don't say this because of the affiliation. I say this honestly as someone who's from here. And I too, like, the, you know, when cars change, like, I don't have a brand new car that has like every fancy bell and whistle in it. And so the radio just doesn't get played from me. Like, I just Bluetooth my phone and I use the phone, and that's helpful with the numbers with their streaming situation. But like the idea of listening to the radio was just like not something I did.
You have a strained relationship with radio. It's not really useful, like in this conventional sense anymore. Not, especially, you know, I'm a transplant, so coming from the East Coast, there's a tons of different radio stations that cater to different demographics. But ultimately, if you want to hear what you want to hear, you put on a streaming service. Like you're gonna go Apple Music, you're gonna go Tidal, Spotify. It's just that much easier. Why do I want to hear commercials? Any of that? Like, it's kind of like, why would I listen to radio at all? I think one of the unique situations we have here in Portland was that big gaping need for Black radio. And I feel like what the numbers does, sorry if this comes off as a commercial, is we do Black first, radio second. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're tuning in, and you're not just tuning in to, well, I be trying, Dr. Marco. You're not just tuning in to hear what you've been told Black radio has been all these years by listening to other stations. This thing is hyper Black from the talk content, from the underwriters and the small businesses that are supported through this. We're Black first, period. And we happen to do radio, and we happen to do some video content, and we're getting, you know, ourselves developed with the podcast network and social media. So there's a lot going on in every Black city, in every city where there are Black folk. Here in Portland, there are a lot of Black people, contrary to what is spread on the internet and different groups. There are a lot of Black people that are here, that are about it, that want to see change in their community. And Black radio, Black media in general can be used to galvanize us. So, like, you know, like I started out, I think we're Black first, we're radio second.
Yeah, he said, well, that wasn't meant to be a commercial, but yeah. Cut that promo great. So
I just came up with that, Joe, and I was off top.
We're just gonna use that, and that works as again. Remember, Black News Future first panel coming December 18th. Second panel with the numbers coming in January. Stay tuned. But enough of that. Enough of the preview. Let's get to news. You know, I was gonna ask y'all what, just because, you know, I'm a regular listener of the Unrefined Sophisticated, so I was kind of curious if there was a news story burning on your mind. But then, you know, I went to the news feed today, and, you know, it answered it for me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna read this headline, and I'm gonna let y'all go from there. I'm just gonna see what happens. So according to Vice News today, unvaxxed sperm is trying to become the anti-vax Bitcoin. Subhead: it's based on the false anti-vax belief that COVID vaccines affect fertility and that the sperm of unvaccinated people will be worth a fortune one day. Oh, you can't see Ambush's face on this recording right now, but
what?
So many questions before. Like, how do you test? Do you test the sperm? Are you able to test the sperm at a later date to know if it's clear and free? You know, as someone who missed the Bitcoin, you know, the wave. Tell us more. Just not. That's an interesting. Why this is interesting, as that story as a part, and then going back about, I want to say about a year ago. I know we talked about there just being a crazy shortage in general, and how there's people who are super spermers, like running around and getting pretty good money flying around the United States and donating their sperms. And I wonder if at this point, if there's like, if that's kind of increased with the non-vax versions, because at that point it was just in general, the sperm banks needed more, but now we're here. And what that separation that's happening right now, the vax versus the unvax, and where they're placing the value at is nuts.
Okay, I got an issue though. Who's placing the value? People that are placing the value are the people that are unvaccinated, saying, I know that this is going to mean something later because it don't mean nothing now. Like, bye. You're the one who's valuating it. I don't care. Who is telling you that your sperm is going to mean something to more than it would? Like,
there's a positive.
You're telling yourself that.
There's a huge positive here. If the unvaccinated are saving and guarding their sperm, that means less procreation. Natural selection.
But will people take that sperm? Like, if people will take it. No, but like if it.
I mean, they're charging a pretty penny for it now. I mean,
who pays the sperm bank, right? Like, or they think they're just going to hold it themselves and then put it on the market. The value increases.
Yes, going on the top shelf.
I would just posit, as someone who grew up in Lake Oswego, Oregon, there are plenty of wealthy white people who will throw all kinds of money on unvaxxed sperm, and you know.
I mean, I don't
really any
I do understand that, but who gets this at, like, what's the chain? What's the supply chain here? It's unvaxxed sperm. How do I find it as the woman looking for unvaxxed sperm? Do I go to a sperm bank, or am I going to Facebook Marketplace and trusting Joseph, who says that he wasn't vaccinated and he has this in his special sperm fridge?
Yeah. What's his cryo facility? What are we doing?
What's the chain of command?
Is that a hit?
What's the protocols here, Joseph?
Because they're the ones who are deciding that this means anything. Like, you're starting a collectible item or something, and you're deciding that. So does it even go to the normal way, or this black market sperm from the jump? And then if it's black market sperm from the jump, there's already, they're right. There is, like, you can charge what you want, right? Like,
so that
is right. There has to be a third party verification of the sperm before.
I bet this.
There's got to be
value is attributed to it.
Something, because
here.
because in the space of and this is me having no knowledge of how vaccines work inside the body, and so because I'm not a scientist, right? With that, I trust the people that are fairly smart, along with my own reading abilities. But how do they know? I mean, outside of the card, right? And or getting into the, but how do you know for sure that I'm not just writing on the label unvaxxed
or pure?
That's the part that, because you think that this is going to turn into, like, capitalism works the way that it works, right? So if I'm the sperm house and I'm like, wait, there's no way they can verify, and all I got to do is
right.
Why not?
All of this sperm is unvaxxed and we're good to go. Oh no. Was there a problem in the lab? We missed that one. Like, I don't understand how this is supposed to work at all.
Or not even miss. Like, oh, you had a whole healthy kid and nothing ever was wrong.
Oh no, definitely. I mean,
yeah, it's just that is an interesting. Yes, I would love to find that article.
It annoys me though about a headline like that. You know how many problems we need to solve 20 years ago? Like, we have so many problems that are so pressing right now. The fact that
we took Surge off the shelf without talking to anybody.
Goodbye. I can't resign from this, but like, can I leave the meeting? What?
Continue.
They talked to someone. Kevin said it was fine. Kevin was like, you know what? Nobody's buying Surge anymore. Anyway, we have so many problems that are pressing, and like, this is a created thing. It's completely just created, manufactured, right, and becomes a problem that we have to solve in the way of like we're doing right now. What's the supply chain? How is this working? What's the chain of command of the specimen? Like, all of those things. What? You just so somebody can have a hot commodity for the moment? Like, no. This isn't real. This is like a wellness babe idea. Like, oh, you know what we should do? Sell your unvaxxed sperm. Like, that's what just happened. And then now we have to deal with this third party market of sperm.
You know, this went to I'm gonna call it an intellectual place, relatively speaking.
Relatively.
Because I was just satisfied with being like, woo, the whites. And just letting it move.
Right.
But yeah, no, we
wanted to entertain the whole headline. Like, what's happening here? If we're doing this, we're doing it.
Yeah.
But the whites. That's the answer.
But also, because I realized there's two headlines today that is just possibly competing for the zeitgeist. That and Jussie Smollett testified he did drugs and masturbated with his attacker. Also from Vice News. They're just
Vice killing it all today.
It's Vice Monday. But
okay, what? Read the headline one more time. I'm sorry.
See, this is proving a point I've been talking about with people today, is that Jussie is out here just, even when the whites are selling unvaccinated sperm, we cannot focus. But let me repeat. Jussie Smollett testified he did drugs and masturbated with his attacker. That's the headline.
How are we at trial?
I hear something like this, I'm always wondering what was the conversation? Because there's some things that how do you pitch certain ideas? That's where my brain goes first. Like, hey, we're going to link up. Let's talk for a bit, stroke it.
And then, and then we go.
Did it happen naturally? Was it an organic thing? Like, what? Help me to understand that.
Which part are you asking? Was it organic? The
masturbation.
The Netflix together. And chilling, or the please attack me, pretend to attack me later with your brother?
I think he's asking if the sperm was vaccinated or was it organic, locally sourced.
That is not.
That's not what.
No, these are all Kansas. Legitimate questions.
Okay, I think I might be misrepresenting Kansas.
This guy's story just keeps getting crazier and crazier, and I guess I too thought it was over with for whatever reason. And knowing that it's
be over with, because if you made this entire thing up and this wasn't real, you needed to cop a plea and be quiet about it. You don't need to be at trial now.
Facts.
We have to hear that you were also doing it with that dude. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, and I'm curious about where we are exactly, because I remember, wasn't there some apology he did that pardoned him from some of the charges or something, and the police union had a real issue with that? Like, how you just pardon? Like, what's going on here? Like, some of the charges got dismissed after he made some public apology or something, and this is the result of what remained.
Well, they better shut up, because Kyle Rittenhouse. So they could be quiet.
They could be quiet. He could fake an attack. Gosh.
The masturbation was self-defense. I don't know why he's not just saying that. Like, this was obviously self-defense.
That is a
take. That will work.
This is a take.
That will work.
All he got to do is show doubt. Prove
That's it.
Prove
That's it.
That's it.
Beyond a reasonable doubt, we can do this.
If I'm running down on somebody I got an issue with, and old boys start doing that, I'm out.
It is self-defense, right? It will work.
That's a self-defense maneuver.
That is
a self-defense maneuver.
So, Ken and Morgan, I know you just did a legal episode. Is this going to be like, if you do like a part 2?
That does, because does it pass the smirk test? What was it called?
Yes, the smirk test. Can I get through saying without smirking? Yes.
Yeah,
we're gonna put that on Friday because we got part 2 coming up on Friday. I don't want to talk about him, and I don't want to talk about this because this is the dumbest thing. I can't believe. Why did you do that?
Jesse, what were you doing? It's like he really.
The only thing I want at the end of this trial is like an honest answer of why he would do this. Like, what did you do this for? I don't care if he ever pays a fine, goes to jail. None of that matters. Why did you do this? What was this for? Who was this about to serve?
I too am curious because he already was on a hit TV show. He didn't need to create another one.
At the height of the hit of that TV show.
At the height of it.
He made it so much worse for everybody on that set too. Right. Like, also, there's no reason. There's too many hate crimes happening every single second of the day. There's no reason to make one up. There's literally no reason to make one up. Second, if you're gonna do a fake hate crime with the idea that there's racism involved and homophobia, maybe you don't use 2 Black men to do this racist hate crime against you. Like that, what do you mean?
I take additional offense because they're Nigerian.
You should take additional offense.
There was a point that I heard yesterday on something I was listening to that made a great point, which was he's Black kind of famous. He's not white famous to be noticed on a street in white world like that, to be randomly. So that was like a problem from the jump in terms of his story. And I thought about that and was like, yeah, again, I know his name because of all of this. Right. Not because
it's not like he was on Grey's Anatomy or something.
Yeah.
That is a very good point.
So people in finding you and then being like, oh, because you're that one character. White people was not watching that show.
No. Not like they're watching Power.
No.
Bruce,
I want
some riveting subjects.
For real. I want this whole story to go away. And not because I feel bad for Jesse or anything like that. It's like, this is the biggest waste of time. The whole thing. The from beginning to end, you pretending to walk to Subway at 2 a.m. in Chicago when it's 40 below outside. The whole thing was dumb from the jump.
And it's the gift that keeps on giving.
You don't risk anything to walk to Subway.
There's so much good pizza around. Why didn't you just get some pizza? Say you was on your way to a slice.
Right.
Subway is definitely the last place I'm walking into if I'm in Chicago.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Subway is across the street and 7-Eleven is 3 blocks down. You're just going to 7. You're not crossing the street. You're not even risking traffic. You're just going to go on the same side of the street right on down there. Jesse is the suspect from the rip, homeboy. Like,
I'll say this though, he gave us the one Dave Chappelle joke we can all agree on in the last 3 years. Everyone I know possibly refers to him as juicy before and has to stop themselves.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Change that man's whole life.
He definitely did.
It's the one thing.
You're not wrong.
But
salvageable.
On that note, to take things a little more forward facing, I want to again thank you all for taking the time to entertain terrible headlines this evening. But just to kind of wrap it up, can you all tell people, what's on tap, both with the station kind of going into 2022 and Unrefined Sophisticate specifically? So you got part 2 of the legal episode coming.
I'll jump on that real quick. So for Unrefined, we have the second part of Ask a Legal Expert with Ella coming up. We're going to record that on Friday. So the next thing we drop after tomorrow. And then going into 2022, Can and I have lots of plans of what to do with the show, how to further monetize, how to further reach. And those are things we'll be working on right in the beginning of 2022 so that we can have some real successful quarters. That's what we're working on.
Everything she said.
And I'm working on working with them. For
Ow.
real. You know what I'm saying? You know, Ken Jones is a host of many shows on and off the numbers, and is also our talk content coordinator. So he's been helping us develop some upcoming shows with a bunch of content creators. A lot of women-led programming is hopping on.
Damn.
So really excited about that. As far as what we have going on right now and what 2022 is looking like, we did establish recently our art gallery on the fourth floor of the Portland Art Museum, the Aux Mute Gallery. Really excited about that. Had the opportunity to feature Sarah Sabino in this first quarter of the gallery being open now. We are currently featuring Jason Hill and his photography. Jason is a friend of every show, a numbers family member. This brother's his eye, his attention to detail, his lighting is amazing. He's an amazing photographer. He just is just a great personality, and he's taken an opportunity to highlight some of the people that he's worked with in this particular exhibition. So we'll be doing that, and then also, it feels like nepotism. Morgan and Can will also have products popping up in the bodega, the Nums Bodega, which is our pop-up shop in the Portland Art Museum. We are in the process right now. We're going from the pop-up shop to the actual bodega installation. Hopefully, we'll have that ready for y'all right before the holidays concludes. And you can, you know what I'm saying? You can support local creators in all types of ways. You know, spread the podcast. Come into the museum, buy the goods, wear the goods, gift the goods, all the good stuff.
Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Tell all your friends to tell some more of them.
Yeah.
And then something I'm really, really excited about. I'm super excited about. Our content creation team is working on putting a show together. A show together that's actually going to be a top 10 Portland countdown show. We're featuring nothing but Portland artists. Top 10 show that'll be happening every Saturday. So you're getting the exclusive on that there, Bruce.
That's only been production meeting talk.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
Right.
You heard it.
It was all my idea, and so when it happens, somebody is like, Ambush comes up with all the great ideas. Like, remember that one was mine.
Yeah.
Just for the people viewing, that's the little encouragement there. Break news with Black media. Just a thought.
Just a thought.
People ask to, how can I support with money? But also, the little things. Just
money and stories, right?
Money and stories.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Exactly. Well, yeah. Can, Morgan, Ambush, thank you again for taking the time and being the inaugural guest of the Bruce Poinsett show whenever this comes out. Yeah. Anyways, thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you so much. This was really fun.
Yep.